So yesterday I went first thing in the morning to go sit outside because it was a really nice day out. And today's a really nice day too, but it's been cooler, really sunny. So yesterday I had a distance Reiki healing session. So before that, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna sit outside for a few minutes and write in my journal or something. So that's what I did. So I went outside, beautiful out, like blue skies, very sunny. Felt so good to have the sun on me. And I was sitting there. And first of all, I heard little birds tweeting and I was like, this is nice, this is nice. But then I heard like a leaf blower in the background from like a landscaping company, like a block away. And I focused on that instead of the Tweety bird. And then I heard hammering coming from across the street. I was listening, like there were all these cars whizzing by, and I realized how loud it was. Like it was really loud outside, and I was like, I would love nothing more than to just like have a private backyard with just like birds, right? But instead I got like guys working on a house across the street. I got landscapers. I got cars and trucks whizzing by. One of my pet peeves, by the way, is trucks shifting gears. That sound it makes, I don't know why, but I always cringe. And all of my focus went on all these noises, and I started becoming really annoyed. I was becoming really annoyed and frustrated. And I was like, all I want to do is sit here in silence, and everything is like, all this noise is like coming at me and attacking me almost. And it was so loud because I was so focused on it. So what I did, I tried to just tune out the other sounds and focus on the bird that was tweeting, because that noise was not annoying the crap out of me. But you know what? I really had trouble. It was so hard to do. And then I said, okay, this obviously isn't working, focusing on this one sound. So what I did, I kind of brought myself to this place of neutrality. And I told myself to, I wasn't being present because I'm focusing on all these things outside of me. And I'm not being present with myself, and I'm not focusing on what I'm here to sit here, enjoy the sunshine, and write a couple pages in my damn book. And I couldn't do that because I felt like these noises were just irritating me. And I know you guys have experienced this, where it's like something is just like irritating the crap out of you, whether you're at a restaurant and it's somebody talking really, really loud. I've experienced that too. And, the wine is flowing and the volume just keeps going up with like a big group of people, or there's somebody who's just, I don't know, whatever it is, it doesn't matter, but you know what I mean. So what I did, I went to this place of neutrality, and where I wasn't attaching to the things outside of me, and I wasn't attaching to my inner thoughts of irritation. Because what happens is you start getting irritated by things, and it starts to overtake you, and you start feeling these emotions and anger, and your brain just starts going out of control, in a sense. So this is kind of the precursor to what I wanted to talk about today, which is we have something called our inner screen and our outer screen. Now, these are concepts from a really awesome book called Tufti the Priestess by Vadim Zeland, one of my favorite authors. And, in the book, he talks about how we are constantly switching back and forth into these two screens, where we're basically in a dream state, where we're asleep. So the outer screen is basically where I was yesterday, placing all my attention on these external sources. And it's almost like social media or COVID right now, where, something happens outside of you, and your attention is like right on that thing. And you lose yourself in the process. You lose your own thoughts in the process. You lose your presence in the process because all of your attention is focused there. So inner and outer screen is basically this constant switching of your attention. And it's both states, you're asleep. You're not present. Okay, so outer, something happens outside of you, your attention is focused on that and only that, and you lose your sense of presence within yourself. And then inner screen is when you're lost in your head, you're lost in your thoughts, you're thinking so much, and this can take a hold of you. And this is where stuff like obsession comes in. If you're obsessing over somebody, or you're obsessing over something that happened, you are in your own brain and you're not present, you're asleep, again, because you're lost in thought. You're lost in thought. So this constant switching back and forth, we are totally unaware of it because we're asleep half the time. If you're on your inner screen, you're just on autopilot mode. If you're on your outer screen, you're just focused on something outside of you. So the key here is to get to a point of something called the center screen. So he talks about the center screen in the book. So this is the point, the place where we wake ourselves back up. We wake ourselves back up. And, you know, this isn't always easy because we have to train ourselves to do this because we're constantly switching back and forth. For example, right now, would you say you're in your inner screen or your outer screen? Are you truly 100% present, or are you lost in thought, or you're thinking about something else, or did something just happen? Somebody dropped something and made a loud noise and you focused your attention on that. So, you know, there's plenty of times that you can pinpoint where you're constantly going back and forth. Sometimes people get caught up in one screen over the other. So a lot of people who do obsess a lot, they're in their head a lot. Okay, these might be even like introverts in their heads a lot, or people that are very passive and not sociable. These people can become trapped in the inner screen. Whereas outer screen, these are people who are maybe just on social media, or they're just constantly looking for outside stimuli, or they watch TV a lot and things like that, or they're focused on like a COVID virus and they're watching the news constantly. They're not self-aware. So what happens, the negative part about being either in the inner or outer screen all the time is that you lose control of yourself. You lose control of your own thoughts, your own awareness. So that's why it's important to stay in what's known as the center screen. So in order to train yourself to remain in this center screen, to get into this center screen, you can tell yourself, before you before you do anything, tell yourself, I see myself, I see that I'm present, I see my reality around me, and tell that to yourself. Tell that to yourself, and do this throughout the day. This requires training. So before, say you're going to open a door, before you actually go to open that door, instead of just going for it, where you're usually lost in thought and you're on autopilot and you're not even thinking about opening up the door, right? We don't think about walking through a doorway, or we don't think about opening up something else, or we don't think about picking something up off the table. We don't think about it. We just do it, right? It's so natural to us. But before you act, say, I see myself in reality, and get to that present moment, then do it. Then go turn that doorknob, open that door. Okay, so this requires some effort. See if you can do this, you know, take 30 minutes out of your day and practice this. And what you'll notice is that things shift for you. Reality shifts for you a little bit because you are now more present with yourself. With the outer screen, if you find something captures your attention in the outer screen, okay, say you see something shocking happen in front of you, and instead of placing your attention right there, you know, view it as you see it, but then tell yourself, I see myself in reality. Wake yourself back up. Wake yourself back up. And the key here is to try and observe what's happening in the outer screen and the inner screen at the same time, because you're in the middle here, you're in the center screen, where you can observe, you have the ability to observe both. Now this can be a tricky concept. This is, even for me, I mean, this is hard. This is hard because we fall asleep so many times during the day. So that's why take, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour a day, and see if you can remain present. See if before you act, before you do things, take 10 minutes if it will, and see how difficult it is, right? It's very difficult. Another technique you can practice to getting to your center screen or remaining present with yourself is to just pick up an object. Say you picked up like an orange, and you know, I want you to go through your 5 senses and really observe the orange, what it looks like, what it smells like, what the texture is, okay? Does it have like a smooth, rough texture, the weight of it, feeling of it, you know, and then eventually tasting it, what it tastes like. So when you can really hone in, focus in on an object with all your senses, that's remaining present. That's being present, because you are not looking at this orange and you're thinking about, oh, I got to take the recycling out tonight, and you know, I had that fight yesterday with my best friend and blah, blah, blah. Or you're not looking at the orange and, you know, a car accident happens next to you and you're like, no, that is your attention being diverted. So you're looking at the orange and something happens, you know, somebody says something that's really shocking to you, and you're still looking at the orange and you're really focused at the orange. This is presence, guys. This is being present. If you can put all your focus in the moment and not be distracted and not fall asleep, okay, not be on autopilot mode, where you are really savoring this orange and you are really looking at it and you are really like, oh my God, you know, best orange ever. So there's different techniques, things you can do, little things you can do to try to remain present within yourself. So the key here is to practice, because you want to not become locked into the outer or the inner, okay? When you're locked into these, you lose all control. You lose all control and you become just asleep. You become like a zombie in life. So to maintain control, you need to practice remaining present and waking up before you act or before your attention goes full force into something. I mean, you can observe something happening, but always hold that center screen at the same time. You know, it sounds easier than done, but it requires some practice. So, you know, I just thought of this because yesterday I was having so much trouble just enjoying the sunshine, being outside, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, I'm so focused on, in my outer screen, I'm so focused on these things outside of me. And then I'm switching back to inner screen where I'm focused on my emotional state, right? The emotional conflict within me. It's like, well, I want to sit outside, I want to write, but you know, all this noise is irritating me, and I'm annoyed and I'm frustrated and blah, 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 and all this crap. So that's it, guys. You know, just something to be aware of. Spend, you know, 15 minutes today and see if you can practice becoming patient, waking yourself back up. See if you can observe yourself when you're falling into these states, and kind of pay attention to become aware of which states you have a tendency to fall into. If you're in your head more so all the time, or you are focused on outside things or distracting you, distraction. You know, the phone is a great distraction. It's a great distraction, a great example. You know, it can just take us away from having control. You know, if you ever realize you're on the phone and it's like 2 hours later and you're still on the phone. What happened? Where did your consciousness go? So it's being in these unconscious states that give us a sense of losing control. Okay, so that's it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments below, and subscribe if you haven't done so. I put out a video every single morning. I appreciate you, and I will see you on tomorrow's video. Okay, peace out.